So just wanted to do another one just for the Dawning mods. Let me just move my mouse. So the Dawning mods can be absolutely excellent. I mentioned Powerful Friends previously on Discord. It is great. It's a one that you want to particularly use for what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for PVE PvP activities, because it's such an easy way to get +20 mobility for not doing much in particular. So this gives you +20 mobility. The only thing that you have to do is in one of the other slots you have to have an arc based item. You can tell it will be arc because at the top left you'll see the little arc sign. So these are all, sorry, those two are arcs. Literally everything except the first one on this row is arc, and that last one at the bottom is arc. You also have one down here which is arc, but I wouldn't recommend that. I definitely recommend we just going like the pulse rifle, reloader or something that is actually benefiting for you. So that's just 5 slots to get an extra 20. So you can see my mobility right now on this piece of armor is +42. Crazy, right? So definitely recommended for PvP, boost your mobility. And like I said, I think mobility is the greatest stat in the game for PvP. Arguably, obviously, opinion only. Um, so in other things for the art, let's just double check. So striking light can be pretty cool. The problem is it will disappear for every time you melee kill someone. But basically, when you have a charge of light, you will gain damage resistance when you're sprinting. So all you need to do is run, and then you'll gain a damage resistance. I use a particular build, which I'll just try and show you real quick, and where basically there's Titan boots called the Mark 44 Standard. They actually give you a overshield just when you're running. It's not instant; it actually generates over time, but it's great. I mean, once you have that overshield, you can just keep closing the gap on an enemy. And I use it with like shoulder charge abilities. I think I'm not too sure if you have to use it with shoulder charge abilities, but I do use it with shoulder charge abilities because it just lets me close the gap on people and then just deliver a large shoulder charge directly to their face. Not too sure why it transferred that in, but we'll wait and see. The great thing about using those in conjunction is it just actually allows me to give a bit of a buffer to what I'm trying to do. So this is it. So basically, if you watch my health when it appears, there we go. So I start running, and if you see at the top, we get the overshield that's charging up, and that just keeps going until it either gets shot down from an enemy or I stop running, just like that. And you keep running and it charges up again. So I'll show you why I use this one. It allows me to do like a multiple shoulder charges on any of the classes. So with that, I use Charged Up, which allows me to get an extra stack of Charge of Light whenever I'm getting a charge. I use Taken Charge to easily get a charge of light every time I pick up an Orb of Light. I use the Heavy Handed, which is expensive, but this one gives me back half of my melee energy when I use a charged melee ability, which is great because this exotic gives me half of my melee energy when I use any of the shoulder charges. So I'll show you exactly how that looks. You can see it says Charge of Light at the bottom, at the left side, my shoulder charge, and I have my shoulder charge back again, so I can do it again. So as long as I keep getting charges of light, then I can keep shoulder charging as much as I want, and it won't disappear. So that's just a build. Again, that's using all of the mods and things in conjunction to actually make that happen. So going back into it, so I've explained heavy-handed as well, didn't I? So it gives you half of that. As a bonus, it will, while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, it adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. I'll show you something that I did as a build for that one in particular. But you see the +1 just there when I actually got the kill. Right, so that's a cool thing that is just an extra bonus for just using another arc ability on that. Those second ones in blue, they just matter about using an arc ability, just like Powerful Friends. Let's see if there's any others here worth mentioning. No, we've covered all of them. Oh, High Energy Fire is really cool. This is to be used only on bosses. I will show you that in just a little while because I have to use a little different setup to actually display that one. Let's get into the solar stuff. So taking charge is the easiest way to get a charge of light. Shield break is a really cheap one to do, but you have to actually match the energy type of the shield that you're breaking. We're using hard light, really good, easy way to get a charge of light, but it's very specific if you're doing it like that. There's other ones that actually count on multiple kills with weapons. I would only recommend the ones for shotguns and fusion rifles because they're easy to actually get multiple kills and you're not wasting heavy ammo, which should be just saved for big guys. High energy fire again on the shoulder. Well, I'll explain in a minute. Heal thyself is decent, but you have to use it has to be stacked. So basically, every time you throw a grenade, it will give you health back. But you have to stack it for the health to be significant enough. So I'd have to recommend you have to use 3 of these, and they also mean that you have to have a charge of light. So you have to get a charge of light just to use 1 grenade to get your health back. Firepower is the same basis, but I would say firepower is better than heal thyself. So you can use this with grenade regen builds, and basically when you throw your grenade, it will give you grenade energy back again. And that stacks, so you definitely want to put it on quite a few things, but that works with any Guardian, so that's a really cool one. Charged up is as explained, it gives you an additional charge of additional 1 stack of charge with light, so you can go up to 3 times. And then there's one called stacks on stacks, which I'm guessing is on the void piece. Let's find our void piece. As we go. It can't do mods, seasonal mods. There we go. Okay, cool. So stacks on stacks is this? No, it's not that one. It is this one. Sorry. So it gives you an extra charge of light every time you gain a charge of light. So that works with any of the green ones that give you a charge of light. So that's cool. Protective light is probably the best one. I've spoken to people about this before, but it gives you a ridiculous amount of damage protection when your shields break. So your shields will break and then you'll just be able to take a lot of damage until you can find yourself a safe spot. If you use that with something like recuperation or better already, it's just really good because you use taking charge to get yourself a charge of life for picking up an orb. And then when your shields break, you look for another orb, which will give you your health back from better already or recuperation, and then give you a charge of light so that if your shields break again, you'll get ridiculous damage protection. Really good. I recommend it on any high level build or raid build. Last one was extra reserves, which is not one that I've used just yet because I haven't had a good reason to fit it into a build, but it is something that I've thought about using the Nezarec Sin on the Warlock class, basically because that is all based around void damage, weapons and abilities, and that can like chain in together, so it just gives you lots of special ammo for actually using void based weapons. So you could use something like the Wave Splitter Telesto, and then just always have ammo for that, so you can just go crazy. As well as that, when Wave Splitter does become a Masterworks item, it gets its catalyst, sorry, I would definitely recommend that because it's a very, very powerful gun, but only if you pick up an Orb of Light. So using that together with Nezarec Sin, absolutely match made in heaven. When that comes around, I'll definitely revisit this build. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I want to say for the Dawning mods. These Nightmare mods, they can help. They're not particularly needed for when you're doing a Nightmare, but they definitely can help in taking down nightmares. And again, I haven't used the Wall Mine build, so take notes of that from like other people who actually use that. There is a guy who makes builds who I do appreciate all of the stuff that he does. He makes really good builds. His name is Crispy Bacon. I'll link his videos, his channel in the description because he makes really great builds. He thinks really far into stuff and he makes loads of them for all classes. So you can get lots of inspiration from things he does. I'll also just hit you up with some of my builds that I'll use here. You've already seen this one for the infinite shoulder charge type thing, but I'll kind of follow this on with videos that I'll just explain some of my other builds. Unfortunately, I mostly play Titan. I have some builds for a Warlock as well. They're very simplistic ideas for builds, just because I don't get onto the Warlock as much as I probably should, and I have nothing for a Hunter. I have one build for a Hunter, but it's not something that I particularly want to recommend. I just did it because I needed to do something for the Hunter for Guardian games, and it seemed like a good idea. So, all you Hunter players, apologies, but hopefully this will give you inspiration to be able to go away and make your own builds. If you have any specific questions about the bills, just shout at me in Discord. Just do a private message. I'll get back to you whenever I can. Okay, thanks, guys.